Welcome to the hobby shop. Today we'll be painting a camper, a birdhouse. We'll be using Deco Art Americana Santa Red and Snow White. Let's get started. I am going to paint the roof first white. I went in and found the vintage colors depending on the style of the camper. I might have to use 2 coats. Hopefully not, but we'll see what happens. Reason why I'm doing this is I am going back east for Christmas, and 2 of my kids, they both have families of their own and they have campers, and I thought it'd be nice to paint each one a different color. I got 2 of them. This is the first one. It would be nice to find something that resembles a gas tank, propane tank to put in front, like campers do have. The jack right there, what I call it, I'll paint it black once this all dries. And it looks like I'll be painting this another layer. Taking my time here. It's got the bumper, and I don't want to put any white paint on it. Not bad for the first coat. Time for the second coat. My oldest boy, he's got a boy and a girl. The boy just went into 10th grade, the girl going into 8th grade. and they're the two oldest of my grandkids. As the weekend of the 4th of July, I got 8 grandkids. If you watched one or two of my videos, I talk about them. That's my oldest, my middle boy. He's got 2 girls. One just went into kindergarten, the other one in the 2nd grade. And my daughter, the youngest, just had her 4th boy. And she is the only girl in the family. So she's got basically 5 boys she's got to put up with. The youngest one is 3.5 years younger than the last boy. So she told me it took some time to get used to. And since there is no windows or doors on this, I am just going to paint this white. I hope everybody had a nice holiday weekend over Labor Day. It is still warm here in southwest Springfield, Missouri, but not as hot as it was. But you only could do still too much, or you only could do so much outside before you have to come in and take a break, and then you realize what time it is, and next thing you know, you got to make supper, and there we go. Now, I don't care about, I should have had a cover on the table, but I'll manage. I'll take a glue stick here and lay it down on the Now I'm going to use the Santa Red. For the windows, a window, the door, and this back piece. Looks like I'm going to be adding 2 coats to this. I did shake it up, but I guess I didn't shake it up good enough. Have you ever wondered that one certain moment you had a camera, but you wish you had a video camera, but depending on how old you are, you wish they made them back then, back in the 60s, even 70s. I'm not sure, but I think they could, oops, take pictures and transfer them into videos. I remember having the bulky VHS camcorder, look like a movie production camera. With all of them cameras that I had, you know, the VHS tapes, we didn't stack them, or not stack them, but store them in a good spot. They all got ruined. Well, I hope you liked this video so far. It seems like that one spot right there doesn't want to hold paint. So I will let that go and dry. Not bad so far. All right. I'm going to use this brush because it's a little bit smaller and got more detail. And once the red sets up and everything, I'll go back with the red and put one more coat on. I have, like I said, I have 2 of these. The other one I'm going to paint white and yellow, which I am going to use Sunflower Yellow by Crafters. And since I'm just beginning to do all this, the people who do this every day or once or twice a week, they know what kind of paint they like, what's the best paint to buy. And just starting out, and of course you get the cheapest paint that you can get just to start out. So if anybody has any suggestions about paint, what kind of paint to use, let me know. I do have another light, but I never plugged it in, and I do not want to get up from the desk here. Right now I'm going to leave that go. Something's wrong. Why he's not sticking there. Just have to dab it. Not bad. I see a few spots where I could get the white a little bit better. Well, if I had time like I did that truck, I used nail polish on it and taped it all off and everything. If I wanted to get into the movie business, I think that's just about done. I'll grab some black paint here and I'll take off it's easier for me to take the lid off and plastic off the lid, shake it up. Not use too much. I think I'm going to paint the wheel black. Got to watch what I do around where the red is. Then we'll come to the jack, paint that black. I'm not doing too bad. Now let's paint the top part, but be very careful with going down to the bottom. Very slowly. Trying to hold the camper with my hand and showing you what I'm doing. I'm just starting out, so not bad for the first time of painting a camper. I think I'm going to paint that bumper black. most of the campers just have a frame and no bumper, just piece of metal going in the back, basically for the bumper. There. And I am going to paint that extension on the door red. Because it's not going to look right with a different color. Yeah, that's a lot better. What do you think? Set that aside. Let's go for the next one. Paint this white the same way, the roof. Yeah, it would probably be a lot easier and faster if spray painted the whole thing white first. More like primer it. Then paint it. But you never know until you start painting it, and well, you think, well, I should have done it this way, or should have added this color to it, or and I forgot to take the sticker off. This one. I did have a piece of cardboard here, but I have no idea what I did with it. when I put some of my stuff back into here after I get done, I'll probably end up finding it. I do tell people when they start painting, make sure you get your colors all there, all the colors you need, your paint brushes, drop cloth or cardboard that you should be painting on. Yeah, let me do one more color on this. Well, back in the 70s, my father and I and my uncle were carpenters. Then my dad decided to, besides staying in the carpentry business, go work on campers. Now, we didn't do the vintage campers like you see here, but sometimes we had to get a camper and there was a leak and everything like that, and figure out what was wrong with it and where the leak was. And sometimes you have to replace the whole roof, and you're up on top of the roof. And hopefully you didn't fall through the roof inside the camper, which that never happened. Like I said, I'm just starting out. Why I never started doing crafts a lot sooner than this. And I'll tell you a story, and you probably won't believe it, but when my grandmother was alive back in the late 60s, early 70s, I was staying up on the farm back in Pennsylvania. When my parents were working, if it was no school, and one day all my aunts, and since my grandmother still lived on the farm but in a trailer, they all come up, brought all their supplies up that they were going to use, and we did a patchwork quilt. Sat next to my grandmother, and she's just telling me what to do, and how to use the needle, and that was the first and last time I did a quilt work. Didn't do the whole thing, just a little, let's say a 12 by 12 piece of the quilt. And you could say that was the first time I ever crafted a piece. Here it is. Did I work on the farm? Yes, I did. Not like today's kids. Sit in front of the TV and play games. We were out there haying, driving the tractors, putting the hay on the wagon. At first we had a farm truck, and somebody was on the farm truck, somebody was driving, and then we were carrying the truck would stop, and then you were carrying the bales to the truck, throwing them on the truck. There we go. Then my uncle got some hay wagons, which he had anyway. First ones were more or less made out of wood, the sides and everything. Then he switched to metal, but we did that with the hay wagons. Yeah, I think I use this. Then on the baler, my uncle bought an attachment to go in back of the baler, where the bale go out of the machine. It's called a kicker. Instead of dropping them on the ground, it kicks them up in the wagon, so nobody has to be on the ground picking up the bales. Only thing is, you were on the wagon stacking them, and you got to watch the next bale before you got to get out of the way. Sometimes you got out of the way, sometimes the bale got you. Not bad. You watched it, you had it hit another bale, then by the time it bounced, thinking that you were out of the way, it would get you. But I loved it though. We did even have a combine that you pulled behind the tractor. And everything was manual. Come down in the chute, you had your burlap bag. You fill it up, hit the stop button on so it won't keep filling up the bag. Take that off, put another bag on. While that's filling up, you had to tie it up the best you could. With all the dust from the hay or doing oats on the combine, at least I was, sneezing your full head off. But if I had a chance to do it again, even at my age, I'd give it another shot, even if I have to wear a mask so I won't keep sneezing. But I loved it. Had a John Deere 70, had a John Deere MT, which had the harrow attachments for it. And we still have the family farm as of today. My uncle passed away and everything a few years ago, and kids turned the farm. They turned it into a wedding venue, party venue. And every second Saturday of August, every year, we had the family reunion, which we still do. I'll have to come back and once it dries and touch that weight up. But of course, aunts and uncles passed away, and cousins moved away, or we used to have, I think one year we counted, we had just about 300 people there. Cousins, aunts, and uncles. Talked to my brother after the reunion this year, which I didn't go to because I'm here in Missouri. They only had about 40 people. So seems like it's dwindling down. I have cousins in New York. One of them comes down. Plays golf that morning and comes to the reunion, but his 3 sisters are too lazy to even come and show up. So what do you think? Here's the yellow one, and here is the red one. Not bad for first campers. So please leave your comments, suggestions, subscribe to my channel, because you never know what I might put up on the desk. I got a whole mess of stuff behind me. I got to go through Halloween stuff and a lot of Christmas stuff. And big, not the small stuff, but the big Christmas stuff, which is going to take me a good hour to do. Hopefully not, but so thanks for stopping by. Subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time. And P.S., the way I work, I don't know from week to week what days I get off. Luckily, this week I had 3 days off. Next week, 2 days off, but I have no idea which day I have off. I do have the 12th off, which we are going down to Silver Dollar City for Cowboy and Craft Fest. I have a few friends down there. I will be doing a video down there, possibly a couple of them, so because each one is in a different building. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, and keep an eye out on the horizon. Bye bye.